I will show you how to style and create a game main menu and load your level and save your game data. So let's begin creating our game menu screen by going to Scenes in the UI folder and then choose Other Node and search for Canvas Layer. Then rename the canvas layer to Game Menu Screen and save that into your Scenes and UI folder. Then right click Add Child Node and search for Margin Container, and in the anchor preset choose Full Rect. Then right click Add Child Node and search for VBox Container. Then right click Add another child node and search for Button. Then rename this to Start Game Button, and in the text write Start. Then select Margin Container again and scroll down to Theme and click the empty option and choose Quick Load, and then load our game UI theme. Then in the Scenes UI folder, just double click the game UI theme to open it, and then add a new theme style here. And let's create a custom style called Game Menu Button and click Add Type. Click this option here, and for base type, click the plus button and search for button, and then set that base type. Then click back on the button and scroll down, and on the type variation, click this edit button here and set our custom style. So write Game Menu Button and then click to apply that. Then back in the theme, let's just choose this option here and scroll down to normal. Click the plus button to override the item and then click empty and choose new style box texture. Then click again to open it here in the inspector. Then click the empty option for texture and choose new atlas texture and open that. Then go back to the assets and UI folder, and in the atlas property, bring over basic UI sprites and then choose edit region. And for the menu buttons, we will use this selection here. So with auto slice selected, choose this option here and click close. Then collapse the atlas texture and scroll down to sub-region and choose edit region. Let's zoom in and choose snap mode, pixel snap, and then bring in the bars to frame our button. Once the button is framed, you'll see this here and click close. Now right click the new style, click copy, and then go to press and override the press style. Right click and paste the style from normal. Then right click again and make unique recursive. Then open the style, open the atlas texture and edit the region. Let's zoom out, and this is the previous selected style for normal. Choose auto slice and then choose this option here for pressed and click close. And because we've copied the style and made unique, we don't need to edit the region for this again. So sub-region is already pre-configured. Right click press style, copy that, override the hover item, right click, paste, right click, make unique recursive and click OK. And open the style, open the atlas texture and edit region. Scroll in and choose this option here and click close. Right click the hover style, copy, enable and override the focus item, right click and paste, right click and make unique recursive. And hover and focus are the same style. So right click the focus style, copy, go to disabled, override the item, right click the empty option and paste, right click, make unique recursive and click OK. And open that style. Go to the texture property and edit the region and zoom in, and we'll choose this option here. Let's click that and click close. Then collapse the atlas texture, and that completes our game button style. So let's head back over to the start game button and scroll down to custom minimum size and choose 100 for the X variable and 29 for the Y variable. And then for VBox container, choose horizontal alignment shrink begin and vertical alignment center. Then duplicate the button and rename this to save game button. And in the text, write save, right click and duplicate the button again and rename this to exit game button. And in the text, we'll write exit. So click back on margin container, add child node and search for margin container and create that. And just position this above the VBox container. Add a child node and search for label. And then create that. In the text, write crop tails. And then choose margin container. And for horizontal alignment, say shrink end. And for vertical alignment, shrink end as well. Then head back over to the game theme, the load game UI theme, and add another custom style. This time we'll just search for label and we'll add a default style for the built-in control. So just say add type here, then choose this option here and override this style. Scroll up to the assets folder and in the UI folder and then fonts, bring over the pixel font from the Sproutlands asset and just drag that into our fonts here and then zoom in here. Then click back onto our label, scroll down, and for font sizes, turn this on and we'll use a font size of 54. Now for the background for the game menu screen, I'm going to create a pseudo level that will just sit in the background. So I'll go to Scenes and Test folder and open up the test scene tile map layer Y, and I'm going to make a copy of this scene. So I'll duplicate this scene and I will call it game menu screen background and duplicate that. I'll just open this scene and just rename this to game menu screen background. I'll just remove the camera 2D from this scene and remove the game screen as well. Then right click the scene in the folder and say move and duplicate to. Open the scenes folder and the UI folder and click move. I will speed up the video as I make some changes to the game menu screen background. When I come back, I will then set the background on the game menu screen and we can go through that. So I've now finished creating my game menu screen background and as you notice, I managed to flip the chicken sprites. And you can do this by just right clicking the scene and then choosing editable children, going into animated sprite 2D and then modifying the flip hitch parameter. Now let's just test the scene. But as you can see, the animations are now playing and the flip did not occur. So let's fix that. To go to game menu screen background node and attach a script and then just create the script in the scenes and UI folder. And in the script, override the ready method and just pass for now. Then create another function and call this set scene process mode and return void. And then get the process mode parameter and then set it to be process mode disabled. And then in the ready method, use call deferred and then use the string to set this function here. Then go back to the 2D view and let's run this again. And as you can see, the animations are not playing, so we've frozen the scene and the flip is now here. And that's because using call deferred waits for the whole scene to be set up and then we freeze the scene. If we go back onto the game menu screen node here and then go down to process mode and set process mode on this panel, the flip will not occur, and that's because we need to set the scene up first, allow the flip to be applied, then set the process mode. So head back to game menu screen and let's just go to the 2D view and drag on the game menu screen background in the game menu screen canvas. And then just move the node above margin container. Let's scroll in, and now let's modify our title again. So click back on label and scroll down to fonts color and enable that. Then select the fonts color and choose the color picker, and I'll just choose this color here. And then for font shadow color, I'll enable that and just choose white. And then for shadow offset, I'll increase that to 2. And for shadow offset Y, I'll also increase that to 2. Let's just modify the text on the button. So open up Game UI theme, select Game Menu button, and in the text option, let's override the font. Go back to Assets and UI folder. In Fonts folder, just bring over the Sproutlands font. Then choose this option here and override the font size and change this to be 18. Now let's just run the current scene. And this is now complete, so we can just hover over the buttons, but now let's connect up the buttons. So click the game menu screen node, right click and attach script, and create the game menu screen script in the scenes UI folder, so click create. Then expand the VBox container and choose start game button, and in node, click the pressed signal and connect that. Connect that to the script, and do the same for save game button, connect and create the function in the script. And for exit, choose pressed, click connect and connect that function to the script. So let's create another global manager script to manage the start, save and exit game. Head to the scripts and globals folder and right click and create a new script and call this game manager and create that. Open the script and go to project settings, globals, and open the game manager script. Open that and add that to the game and close. In the game manager script, create 2 functions called start game with a return type of void and exit game with a return type of void. Then back in the scripts and globals folder, right click and add a new script and call this scene manager and create that. Then open the scene manager script and then go to project settings, and in globals, select the scene manager script and click open and add that. Then click close. And for the first variable, call this main scene path, which is a type of string, and then go to scenes and right click main scene and choose copy path. And then inside the quotes, just paste that path. For the next variable, we need main scene level root path, which is also type string, and just open main scene and right click level root and copy node path and paste that here. And then at the front, say root / main scene and / again. Then create another variable called level scenes, which is a type of dictionary, equals, and for the first parameter, we'll say level 1, colon, and then go back to scenes folder and in levels, for level 1, right click, copy path, and paste that path in those quotes. Then create a function and call this load main scene container, which is a return type of void. Then in this function, say var node, which is type of node, load, and pass in main scene path, dot, instantiate, and then say if node is not equal to null, then get tree, dot root, and then add child, and pass in this node. Then we need another function called load level and pass in level, which is type string, and return type is void. Then say var scene path, which is type string, equals level scenes dot get level. If scene path equals null, then just return from this method, or level scenes, which is type of node, equals load, then pass in scene path, and then instantiate that, and say var level root, which is type of node, equals get node, and pass in the main scene level root path here, and say if level root is not equal to null, then var nodes equals level root dot get children, and then if nodes is not equal to null, then we can say var node, which is a type node, that's in the nodes collection, then we can just queue free anything that's registered underneath the level root node. Then we get the level root again and we add the child. So then add level scene. So now that we've set these functions up, we'll put a breakpoint in line 18 and a breakpoint at the start of load main scene container. Now head back over to Game Manager and in Start Game, get the scene manager and load the main scene container first. So this will load first, and then once that's loaded, we want to load our level, and the level is level 1. So back in scene manager, we defined a level here in the dictionary. So when we pass level 1, it will get this path here, and it will then replace whatever's here. So even though we have a level here now, when we run this code, it will go to this root node, remove this, and then add whatever is in the dictionary. So go back to Game Manager, and then for exit game, we can just say get tree dot and then quit, and that will just end the game. So during development, this is still quite flexible because we can still add any levels to this and then just run the current scene and test it out. And then when we run the game, we can use it as a real game. And just open the scene manager script, and for the main scene level root, just prefix root with a / and then run the game. Let's click the start button and go into load menu scene container and then choose remote here, and let's just see what happens here. So we've got our main scene now added to the root, and then let's load the level. So let's open game root here and level root, and that's what's currently attached to level root, and that was done during development. So let's just load the level scene. So that's level 1. So we have a level root, and then let's just get the nodes from level root and then queue that node. Then let's add the scene and then F12. Let's go back to remote, and you can see that the previous node has been removed and we've added level 1 here. We still have our game menu screen here, so we do need to remove that. So go into the UI folder and open up game menu screen, and when we start the game, we just want to queue free the game menu screen. Let's restart the game and let's just check that. So we click start, then we load the main scene, go to remote, then we load level 1. So I'll just step through that quickly, and then we come out of there. We still got the game screen here, and then let's queue free that now and F12. So in the remote, we just have our main scene and we have our game here. So now let's add a key input binding so that when we press the escape key, we can go back to the main menu. So head over to the game manager and then go to project settings, input map, and add a new action called game menu and add that, and scroll down and click the plus button for the input and press the escape key and click OK, and then we can click close. Then back in the game manager script, create a variable called game menu screen and preload the scene from the scenes UI folder. Then create a function and override the unhandled input event and say if event.itActionPressed and pass in the input game menu. Then let's create another function and call this show game menu screen, and the first variable will be game menu screen instance equals the game menu screen here dot instantiate. Then get the tree and then root and add the child and pass in game menu screen instance. Then copy the function name and back in the unhandled input event, just paste that function underneath the isActionPress method. So now let's run the game. Let's click start, and when the game starts, press the escape key on the keyboard and it should take us back to the main menu. So let's perform some more tests. Let's just press start again. And as you can see, we have an error when we try to get the player from the first node in group. Let's just go to the remote, and we currently are trying to add the main scene to the tree, and as the scenes are being created, this scene is causing an issue here. And this is because as we add the level using the scene manager, the scenes get created And we most likely need to wait for the first process frame to complete and then grab our player from the first node in group. So to fix this, let's override the ready method and await for the tree to process the frame. Then after the tree has been set up and the level is added, the frame will complete and then we can grab the player from the first node in group. So let's just say player equals and then take this line here and then remove it from here. So let's just do a search for any other places where we are using the @onReady variable and getting the first node in group for the player. So I'll just highlight that code and press Ctrl Shift and F and just have another look. So we are currently in the field cursor component, and if I just save that file and refresh, and then we have the situation in crops cursor component. So I'll copy this code from here, then go to crops cursor component, and then at the top above unhandled input, just copy that code here. Just save the file and refresh, and we've got those changes. So I'll run the game, I'll click start, and I'll just approach the guide, and I'll test the balloon because we do add the balloon also to the tree. And I have an issue in the guide script where I use get tree and then current scene. So I'll just highlight this code and then press Ctrl Shift F and just have a look at any other instances. So for this fix, I will change current scene to say root. So it's get tree dot root add child, and then can refresh. And in the chest script, let's just go to that location and I'll make the change here as well. So let's test the game again. I'll click start. So I've activated the balloon for the guide. I'll take crop seeds. I'm growing some crops and I'll collect the harvest. So I'll feed the cows and I'll say yes. And the harvest is now being added to the cow pasture box. So this is looking good for now. I'll close the window. So I'll head back to game menu screen and let's connect the save button. So on save game button pressed, get the save game manager and then call save game. And then I'll go back to level 1 and then in components, I will get the save level data component scene and attach it to level 1. And I'll just put that above game tile map. And in the tilled soil tile map layer, I need to add a save data component. So I'll just attach that there. And when I create my crop field, I need to then save that data resource. So I'll go back to the resources folder and I'll just attach the tile map layer data resource so that we save the tile map layer cells. So I'll go back to game menu screen and open that script and I'll put a breakpoint on the on save game button and let's run the game. I'll click start. So I'll take the crop seeds and I'll just save this small patch of crops. I'll press escape and then save. And I'll just step into the save game. So I've got my save level data component and I'll go into save game. I'll just check the path, that's okay. And I'll check the level file name. And I've spotted something strange. The save name says save at node2d at 55 game data. And I'm expecting it to say save level 1. So let's go to the remote and look at main scene, then open level root, and the node name is incorrect. It should be level 1 as we are loading this scene here. I'll press F12 to continue that, and it's generated the save data file with the wrong name. So back in scripts, globals, and open scene manager, if we look at load level, in this for loop, we are removing the nested nodes from the level root path. So back in main scene, as we load this scene, we clear this out here. And then we get the level root and add the level scene. Now this is useful in development because you can always run current scene and test other scenes as you build the game. The problem is here, when we queue free, we then add the child straight away. And what we need to do is to wait for queue free to finish, then process the frame, and then add the child to the tree. And the fix is to await process frame and then add the child. I will now run the game and click start, and then go to remote. And if I just check level root, I've now got level 1 under level root. So we'll test the save again. I'll run the game, I'll start, and I've made a crop field. So I'll press escape and then click save. And I'll step into the save method. I'll go into the save level data component, and now we have the correct file name, and then I'll continue. And I now have the correct save game data file, which is for the correct level. So now that we are saving the file, let's now load the file. So let's head back to Game Manager, and when we start the game, after load level, I'll get the save game manager and load the game. And I'll just put a breakpoint here, and let's run that, and click start. I'll just step into load game, and we now have the save level component, and we'll just load that. But however, the tiles are not being created. So let's just close that. And here, let's await the process frame. And this will wait for the scene tree to be created, and then we load the data, and then reattach the tiles and create the crop scenes. Let's run the game again, and click start, back into load game, and then F12 to run. And you can now see that the crop field has been recreated. So I'll run the game, I'll click start, I'll just move the player, I'll press escape, and I'll click start again. And as you can see, the scene has duplicated. I'm just going to show you something. If we go to remote, we've got main scene here, and main scene has been added again. And we just need to fix that. So I'll stop that. So let's head back to the scene manager script. And in the load main scene container, we just need to say if get tree.root has node and pass in root and main scene, then just return and don't create the main scene again. And add another variable at the top called main scene root path, and then just pass that into here. I'll run the game, I'll click start, let's check remote, we have our main scene, I'll press escape and then start again, and that's now resolved everything there. When we first run the game, this button should be disabled. Then when we start the game and press escape to come back to main menu, this button should be enabled. Pause this. So head over to game menu screen and select the save game button and just add that as an onReady variable in our game menu screen script. Then override the ready function and get the save game button and set disabled to true. And then after that, set the focus mode to be focus none. Then I'll run the game. So the button is disabled, but we just need to update the style so that we can see the text. So head over to Scenes and UI folder, open the Game UI theme, choose the Game menu button, and for the font colour, just override that colour and choose a grey. I'll run the game, and now we can see the text. So now I'll go to the Save Game Manager, and I'll add a variable called allow save game, and I'll make that a bool. Then back in Game Manager, after load game and loading the scene, I will set allow save game to true, and then go back to the game menu screen script, and then assign that value to the disabled value, and then just invert the value because allow save game will be false on startup. And then for focus mode, we'll get the allow save game parameter and say if true, then control.focus all, else control.focus none. So let's just test that. So it's disabled on startup, let's go into start, then escape, and it's now enabled. Now let's create our own custom mouse cursor for our game. Go to Scene, New Scene, Other Node, and search for Node, and click Create, and rename the node to Mouse Cursor Component. Let's save that scene, and go to the Scenes folder, Components, and save it as Mouse Cursor Component and click Save. And attach a script and save the script as mouse cursor component and click create as well. Then in the script, at export, variable cursor component texture which is of type texture 2D, then override the ready method, then get input and set the custom mouse cursor function, pass in the cursor component texture parameter, then input dot and set cursor arrow. So head over to main scene, go into the components folder and drag the mouse cursor component onto the main scene and just place at the top. Then go to the assets folder in UI and drag the mouse icon PNG into the cursor component. And we downloaded this previously from the Sproutlands UI asset pack. Then head back to game menu screen, go to scenes and components folder, get the mouse cursor component and add it to the game menu screen. Then position this at the top and then go to assets and UI folder again and then bring the mouse icon and drop it on the cursor component texture. So I'll run the game and you can see the mouse cursor has now changed. And that brings me to the end of this tutorial on how to create a game main menu and add your levels to a scene manager and then start them in your game. As you can see, we've had some issues around process frames, but I have gone through them and explained how the scene tree is being constructed, and hopefully this will help you resolve any issues in your games in the future. I hope you really like what you've seen in this tutorial, so please remember to hit like and subscribe to receive future updates of my other tutorials. And thank you for watching.